Howdy, my dudes. Random Fight Fan here. Gonna go over some of the comments, both good and bad, from the last Trample Toes video. For the most part, the comments were really good and constructive. People are trying to help each other on how to make it work, and there were some questions regarding how to actually get it put together a little easier and what kind of alternatives there were. So we're gonna go over a few of the things that were brought up, like Choir of the Storms, using cast on critical, and just making it work easier without too much effort. Oh yes, Pablo, I know, kitty. A few of the less savory comments were in regards to Astramentis and saying that this setup does not work with the top end gear, but that's just absolutely not true. We're going to go over that and prove it. And then I had an idea of how to potentially put this together with basically completely brain off and cast on crit, and we'll go over how that worked and what kind of things were needed to make it work as well. Either way, I think it's going to be fun to put together and to show it off, so here we go. First of all, Choir of the Storms here, you can see it did not have the best initial showing, but maybe there's some strength there. But you know, this is working exactly how I thought it would, honestly, and how I was quite certain it would work. So the reason why it did not have the best showing right here is because this is not a spell damage build. This here is definitely the way to go if you have like wands and spell damage. That's why the Stormweaver way of doing it, or even like the Astramentis cast on dodge, works so well. It's just not at all necessary for Monk, and it's the reason why this wasn't used by Monk for quite a bit of time. Choir of the Storms here is quite weak. And now we'll compare it to a completely random amulet right here, this Grim clasp that we got for 50 whole Exalted Orbs. The Choir of the Storm we got for 1 Chaos. Great pickup. Now for the random amulet. As you can see, it actually did a pretty good job by itself, but, you know, not the hottest without the trampled toes, but, you know, it still did work. It's exactly what you'd expect for an amulet with no attributes, no real good scaling at all. It literally just has min rolls and doesn't really do anything for a build, but you know what? It was there and it got the job done. And when we used it with Elemental Invocation, it one-popped the boss in no time at all. It worked pretty well, which is definite proof that it works well with this tech. And now showing how Trample Toes works with the cast and critical. I was actually expecting it to work a little better, but when you literally don't have the walls up by the time you drop your actually damaging abilities, it definitely weakens it, and as you can see, as soon as I put the wall down, that boss popped in like a second. Now here with pumping Tempest Flurry with the damaging mods we had from the bell, with Astramentis here, that just blitzed the boss like it was nothing at all. That was quite smooth and satisfying. And now let's do it with the completely random amulet. No, that's not gonna work.
The abyss knocks once.
Just do that then. Bad times. Unfortunately, the random amulet did not keep up with the damage. So being able to completely automate this brain off, you're going to have enough actual damage on your Tempest Flurry for getting the overkill damage to stack high enough to kill the boss. It's super easy by just dropping a bell, but as it stands, you're going to need to put a little bit of actual work into stacking that damage up. So probably putting on like the warrior chest piece and putting some damaging abilities on there, and you'll get to it. But just for one swapping, it's better to actually use your damaging abilities to stack that overkill damage to actually one-shot the bosses with basically infinite damage. Now, the reason why this here is almost entirely used with Temporalis builds is because of the cooldown with Greater Lightning Bolt, which is what's used. There we go. It's got that 0.85 second cooldown, and then same thing with on your Frost Walls. It's got a 3-second cooldown between each use, but if you have Temporalis on there, it removes that cooldown, and you have literally infinite Frost Walls, which does infinite damage. When it comes to the monk side of it, you just need enough damage to pop it to cast all 6 walls and immediately destroy the boss. It's not very difficult to do. You don't need much at all, but it does serious work. While I did this with the Grim Class ring, I had 78k DPS on my belt here. Well, yeah, 78k, but it could have been quite a bit less, and it still one-popped them with no issues whatsoever. Now, I really hope that was able to help most people with the questions they had regarding how to get this set up. It is pretty simple to get together once you have the trample toes, and I prefer to use it with elemental invocation. Therefore, you can save all 6 casts of the walls after you drop your bell, after you've buffed everything to go with it, and the overkill damage can pop pretty much anything instantly. If you're just using it with cast on crit, it can fail with Tempest Flurry if you don't have it buffed enough. I know a lot of other people with other types of builds, like the cast on dodge, they can use the, I think it's called Bone Prison, that does a very good job of stacking with their spell damage, and it is insanely powerful. One-shots everything. It's called the Auto Bomber. I'm pretty sure you've seen the build, but it is there. I'd also like to give an extra little special shout out to some of my favorite comments. Pablo was happy to make an appearance on here, and honestly, Mad TV holds a pretty special place in my heart as well. I used to watch that growing up, and what a great time it was. But anyways, if there's any other questions about this, I'll try to answer them best I can, but I think they should have covered it all. Thanks again, all my dudes, for showing up, and see yous.